Every school leader I know is crystal clear about why we're here, why we do what we do, and really why schools exist. It's the kids, right? The students, their outcomes, their growth, their future. But here's the truth: we don't get to the student outcomes by focusing only on students. We get there by focusing on the adults in the building, the very people who are responsible for making those outcomes possible. Did you like how I sounded like an expert on that? Like, I totally did that when I was a leader? Yeah, no. If you watched my first video, you remember that story of the team that I took to the training up in Seattle? Well, at one point, the trainer was like, "Why do we do this? Raise your hand if you're super passionate about students. That's why we're here, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's why I'm here. Students, right?" I mean, I was one of those leaders where every conversation in the building had to be about kids. So then the trainer says, if you're in leadership, your focus is not just on kids. Your focus needs to be on staff. And that's when I was like, dang, definitely missed that. We talk so much about meeting the needs of students, but how much time do we actually spend, like in admin meetings, talking about the needs of our staff? Maybe even using some data to understand what we should do to better support our staff. How are we using feedback loops to gather input, not just from the staff who are supportive of what we're doing, but from the staff who aren't? Do we stay curious in terms of understanding where and why there is resistance? I was so focused on understanding what kids needed, I left my staff behind. So we can think about it this way. We can name the goals for students, right? Higher literacy, stronger math skills, more engagement, better attendance. But none of those things happen if teachers and staff are not well equipped and supported to sustain the implementation of core practices that drive those very outcomes we all want for kids. And this means that our leadership needs to expand to include staff needs. Yes, we care very deeply about every child, but we also have to care deeply about the adults. If we want consistent, high quality Tier 1 instruction, it requires more than just pointing to a framework. It requires building the capacity of the people who intend to carry it out. You know what else that means? Not just buying a training program or a curriculum resource and expecting them to implement overnight. It means not rolling out 15 things at once and expecting them to do it all well. It means being selective and prioritizing the goals and focus for each year. But again, when were we ever taught to do that? You know what happens when we just keep the focus on kids? It leaves our staff feeling stretched, exhausted, and unable to deliver on the big promises without the systems, the training, and the encouragement that they need. Again, I know we're just starting this movement, but I do know that the science of leading tells us that real change sticks when we invest in the implementation conditions. Things like trust, clarity, coaching, and collaborative structures that make adult learning possible. So, if we want stronger outcomes for kids, we can't bypass the adults. Our job as leaders is to design schools where educators are not just expected to implement, but actually supported to make the change that we need to see for kids. And when we do that, we attend to both the students we serve and the staff who serve them. We create the conditions where real, lasting student success is possible. And that's the science of leading change in schools.